cord is behind it, you do it for a minute, and it doesn't calm down, it stops telling you, I have to take her out. Calm it down. They said it works. Well, but they rented it, because it's really expensive to vibrate with everyone. I have to look it up, that's right. It's very strange, and I was wondering what it was gonna look like, so you're telling me about it. I'll look it up. Amazing the things they have for the use nowadays. Yeah, people used to put them in dresser drawers. Also has the white noise.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. I brought a toy today.
I was gonna say, what is that?
So yeah, well, it illustrates something. So I thought today we would focus on the spine. So the interesting thing about the spine, and I wish I had in the other studio I teach at, we have a skeleton called Bucky. So it's easy to visualize the spine height. But each vertebra has a part that's sort of round, like a cylinder, right? It's very solid. And then you have the discs on top, right? Vertebra, discs, vertebra. So this is the front part of the spine. The back part of the spine has all these, they're called processes. It's sort of irregular. Those are the bumps you feel in the back of your spine, but they don't really bear any weight. They have the spinal cord going through them, and they're interlocked, so they contribute to the stability of the spine. So the back of the spine contributes to stability and protection of the spinal cord, and the front is really what bears the weight. So when we move, we want to be aware of the front of the spine, but often we are aware when we think of spine, your attention goes right to the back, right? So today we're going to try to maybe bring the attention into the front, so across the skin and the fat and the muscles and the organs. And there between the back of the spine and all of these tissues in the front is the front of the spine that really, it's sort of like a vertical midline. So we're going to work with the spine today from that point of view on how the bones, right? Bones of the spine moving vertebra by vertebra, which is going to be often a very small movement rather than large movements. And so I did this in my class today, and we did some very small movements, and people were tired because it's not necessary to do large movements to get the body moving. Yes?
I have 3 bad driveways. Yes. So
where are they?
Yeah.
Lower back? Yeah, that's very common. Yeah. Usually between the sacrum and the lower back, and then the next two. And you have your hand? Okay. So that is a very and the reason is sometimes is because, like when we exercise and we do back bend, like in yoga, that's usually where we over bend. Now, if you haven't really done back bends, it's still a vulnerable place because it bears a lot more weight than the top of the spine. So the spine is like a pyramid. The vertebrae are larger at the bottom than they are on the top, and of course the very last part, from the pelvis that ends in the tailbone, is the sacrum, which is fused vertebra. So it's like a large triangle, and it's very stable because the pelvis is stable, has to be stable, has to transmit the weight from the feet to the spine. So that is, and some people they're not fused, and some people they are, and the numbers vary from person to person. In between these vertebral bodies at the front of the spine are the discs. And that's where this comes in. So what's interesting is in the middle you have the nucleus, right? You have the nucleus of the disk. On the outside, this doesn't even come close to showing the complexity of these cartilage and various connective tissues that intertwine. Some of them go this way, some of them go diagonally. It's like having 3 or 4 of these in one. And they create a lot of stability in the disc, but also give, right? The disc has to give. So it's just such a miraculous structure, really, if you think about it, the spine. So what happens with the disc is when we move, part of the disc gets compressed. Now, and then it bounces back, hopefully. As the disc is very full of blood and water. However, as we age, as we all know, we get drier, right? The skin gets drier, everything gets drier. So I don't know, but I feel like the more I drink, the better my joints feel. So not alcohol, water. So certainly drinking water, a sufficient amount of water is going to help keep those discs hydrated, as well as your other parts of the body that tend to dry out the joints. But you also lose hydration during the day. About 20% of the water is lost by the end of the day, and then it rehydrates at night. That's why we often hear that we're taller in the morning than we are at night. So, but the discs, so what kind of movement do we do mostly during the day? Yeah, is that a forward bend? Yeah, sitting is a forward bend, right? Because, I mean, this is upright. Sitting is this. This is a forward bend, this is sitting. If we are in this position for extended periods of time, what do you think happens with those discs? They begin to compress on that side and ooze out the back. So, gotta be really careful about how much we sit. Just sit 15 minutes and then stand up and do something. Do some palm tree poses, do some stretching. And then the disc has an opportunity to plump up again before it loses even more, right, on that side. And of course, when the discs shift in the spine, they may press into a nerve, and that's where the pain comes from. The nerve.
Lying on the flat on the ground also good.
That is great. Lying on your back, on the ground, or on a bed that's not too soft. I mean, soft is good, but not when you sink, because then you're in a forward bend again. And lying on the belly, not sleeping on the belly. They say that's not good. But lying on the belly, if you can, on the floor, or even like supporting your pelvis, if that's too much, it allows the spine to come into that beautiful alignment. So let's try this all on. Comfortable seat. Close your eyes. And feel that sense of support of the ground. So you're probably feeling where your pelvis touches the floor, or the chair, sorry. Feet touch the floor, the pelvis touches the chair. If your weight is on your buttocks, like the back of your buttocks, you're probably slouching. So you might want to take the buttocks out of the way a little bit and sit more on where the sit bones are. Now, some of us don't feel our sit bones and some of us do, but you can imagine where they are. So now, being well connected irregular or one leg is shorter than the other. It will affect the spine. So there isn't much we can do about that, but we can try to find our center by really back to the tailbone and begin to ascend upward from the tailbone and the sacrum. And then how the sacrum becomes the lower back. And when the lower back curves, miraculously balanced upon the neck. Feeling that vertical sense of uprightness. Now become aware of the front of the spine, more in the center, the core of the body. And you feel the tailbone and the sacrum and the lower back, those lumbar vertebrae. And then how that turns into and then the neck, a little curve in the neck, and then the head sitting on top of the neck. Now notice if you can release and relax along this, around this vertical core. Maybe often in the elbows and the wrists and hands. Maybe softening the belly, the heart and the lungs, back muscles, even releasing the legs can help soften around the core, because as you will see in standing, the legs become part of the core. Even dropping the brain behind the forehead, soften. And let any worries drop away. Let any part of your day that caused you discontent drop away. Arriving in the present. And here's a poem that relates to this theme called Movement Towards Not Being Anyone Else's Center of Gravity. A wanting to love, not to lean over toward another and fall, but to feel within oneself a flexible steel upright, parallel to the spine but longer, from which to stretch. One's own springboard, the outflying spirit's vertical trampoline. So let's begin by sitting. So sitting a little bit forward of the chair, because you're going to be rounding like we do rounding into cat, but we'll do it from different angles today. So you can put your hands on your knees or your thighs, whatever feels good. You're going to start rounding and coiling in from the head. Dropping the head, the neck, the shoulders, upper back, lower back, sacrum and tailbone. Tailbone reaches forward. and then coming up from the head. Head, neck, shoulders, upper back. I'm sorry, coming up from the, lower back and tailbone. Now we're gonna go down through the head. And up from the bottom. So lengthening the tailbone, sacrum, lower back, then upper back, shoulders. Vertebra by vertebra. Can you feel the vertebra? Let's try this again. Head, neck, shoulders. Begin to feel. Lengthening. Lower back, upper back, shoulders, and head. Now coming down and coming up from the tailbone. So starting with the tailbone and the sacrum first. So the pelvis tilts. And then the lower back, upper back, neck and head. Very slowly, really see if you can feel that front of the spine, the strong midline, and then coming up from the tailbone. So head is the last part that comes up. Good. Now let's feel what the spine does in a side bend. So we'll go to the right. So first we'll place the left hand on the left shoulder. We're gonna start with the head. Dropping the head, neck, upper back. Be aware of the spine, front of the spine. And then lower back, the waist. And then the pelvis is pretty steady here. Good. And then come up from the bottom. So lower back, middle back, neck, and upper back, upper and head. And then the arm extends. Same thing. Head, neck, upper back, lower back. The arm can come along or not. And then coming up from the bottom, up. Whatever reason, maybe your shoulder hurts today, keep your hand on your shoulder or keep the hand in this position, or even keep the arm alongside the body. We're working with the spine, so the arm is not so important. Other side. To this side, we're gonna start coming down from the bottom. Lower back, upper back, neck, head. And then we'll come up from the bottom. Lower back, upper spine, neck and head. Now the arm extends. Now we'll come down from the head, neck, upper back, lower back. Coming up from the bottom. Lower back, upper back, shoulders, head and neck. And release. Now a twist. In a twist, the spine stays upright, but the vertebra rotate. So each vertebra rotates a little bit. So see if you can make this very even through the spine. So you can put your left hand somewhere on your leg, maybe on the right leg. You can place the other hand somewhere behind you. Feel the solidity of the spine and begin from the bottom, turning the pelvis. So you can actually move the pelvis. You can feel your left leg moving forward as the pelvis rotates. And then the lower back, the sacrum doesn't move a lot, hopefully. You don't want a lot of movement in the sacrum, but you can move it by moving the pelvis. And then the lower back, rib cage, shoulders, neck and head. And then unwinding from the bottom, pelvis, lower back, upper back, shoulders, neck and head. How did that feel? Other side, right hand on the left side, one hand behind. Lengthen the spine. Always lengthen before you twist. This is true at home too if you're twisting. Always find your length first. Pelvis. So my right leg moves forward a little bit. Then the belly, the lower back area of the spine. And the rib cage, the upper back, shoulders, neck and head. Unwinding. Pelvis. Lower back. Shoulders, neck and head. Now let's try this from the head. Left hand on the right leg. Lengthen, tall spine. You can even press the sitting bones in a little bit. Head, very small movements. Neck, shoulders, upper back, lower back, so belly moves. And then the pelvis. Unwinding from the head. Head turns, neck, shoulders, upper back, lower back, pelvis, other side. Head, neck, shoulders, back, lower back, pelvis. So when I move my pelvis, my left leg moves automatically back. And then the head, neck, shoulders, upper back, lower back. Oh, beautiful. Okay, let's do a little stretching upward. Just reach up. If this doesn't feel good with the hands, just reach through one arm. Well, let's all do that. One, other. Keep the awareness on the spine and if possible on the front of the spine, the chunky part of the spine. Good. And now reach with both. And bring the arms out to the side if that feels good for you. Reach up again. This time if you're able to interlace your hands and the palms can face the head or the palms can face up. Press the sitting bones down and press through the hand. Lengthening the spine. Then a little bit side bend to the right. And back to center and to the left. And back to center. Maybe a little bit more to the right. And to the left. And release the arms so you can rest. Roll the shoulders back. Good. Take your left leg and stretch it out. And for some of you, the angle will be a little bit smaller because maybe there is some tightness in the thigh. For some of you, the angle will be larger because maybe you got a different joint and the leg moves more easily in that joint. Maybe you have a really deep hip joint, which doesn't allows for a lot of stability. You probably won't need a hip replacement, but maybe it's a little tougher to make to create the movement. So it's benefit to everything. Actually, being heavier, having a little more weight on you, helps the bones, right? Osteoporosis. Usually, if you're really, really thin, you're more likely to get osteoporosis. So there are benefits to everything. You just have to find them. Hand on the shoulder. Now, aware of the spine. We're only going sideways. We're not going forward. Maybe we only go a little bit. The shoulders, pelvis faces forward. Just a little bit sideways. As long as you can keep the shoulders and the pelvis facing forward, you can continue to go deeper. Lengthening tailbone to head. You feel it? And back. So now we're not so much rounding as we were at the beginning. We're keeping the spine more neutral. Maybe the arm lifts if that is comfortable for you. If not, keep the hand on the shoulder or on the hip or on your chair. Lengthen, keep the length. Imagine the crown of your head has something reaching, an arrow reaching upward. And you're keeping that really, really, keeping that awareness from the tailbone all the way to that. Maybe you went a little deeper the second time. One last time. The third is always the charm, the magical part, right? The muscles have begun to get used to this shape of your body. And back. Good. Bring them back. If you need to, maybe a little bit of movement in that leg to release any possible tension that may have been created through the gate pose. And then we're gonna do always coming back to midline, so doing something that will help bring the body back to center and those discs back to center. So maybe another lengthening, maybe with both arms, maybe one arm reaching a little bit and then both arms reaching, or even cat can help, or a forward bend. So whatever you need to do to comfort your body before we move to the next side, second side. And again, find your position. So maybe it's better for you to put the foot down. Maybe it's better for you to be on your heel. So experiment. This leg is your stabilizer. This bent leg is your stabilizer. So it's sort of in the middle of the chair, or somewhere where you can really feel that stability. And then the arm first on the shoulder. Remember this, reaching up. Like a pencil or a paintbrush, you're drawing an arc. Just a little bit first. And rising up. Awareness from the tailbone to the crown of the head and even to the fingertips. Lengthen. Keep that beautiful long line, which is now a diagonal. And rising up, your arm wherever you want it, you can shake it out a little bit. And the last round. So the awareness is not so much on the stretch. So keeping the spine neutral, which is harder, I think. I think this takes a lot more muscular strength than this. Right here, I can just sort of hang out. But here, I'm trying to keep the spine pretty much like that flexible upright rod, steel flexible steel upright, strong and flexible. Let's do a couple of casts to realign. Listening. Coiling. And now take your feet a little bit wider. Right hand on the right thigh. So notice what happens. So first, align your body with your right leg. And then put your left hand on your left hip. Now there's going to be a little rotation throughout the whole spine. If this doesn't work, don't roll. No, this might not be good for you. If you have, again, if you have disc issues in your lower back, no rotation. You can still do this, right? You can do it like this. This is perfectly fine. This tells you a lot about your back and where your issues are. When you, from this position, start rotating and you feel any slightest twinge, stop. That means something is running against the nerve, right? The disc or the bone or something. So you can't push through that. There's no point, right? You're just irritating the nerve. Slowly just coming into the turn that's appropriate for you. Excellent. And hand on the shoulder maybe. Let's see if you can bring that elbow. So your right hand is on your right thigh. Right hand on the right thigh. Other hand on the shoulder. Beautiful. See if you can bring that elbow toward, the left elbow toward your left hand. Not to, but toward. And then lift it up again and come into that twisty side bend. And again, little contraction here. Everybody feel that contraction here in the muscles? And then lengthen. And one more, contract. And this time when you lengthen, you can extend the arm and take 3 breaths if that feels good, coming out at any time. You're reaching through the crown of the head. Excellent. Back. You feel the difference between the two sides? Let's do a little bit of centering here. Always coming back to midline. If we were working on the floor, I would probably have you sit in child's pose, hips down toward the heels and the arms extending. From this rounded position, just lift the belly a little bit up toward the spine, and then lengthen and come. Other side. Left forearm on left thigh. Some of you will just be staying in this position with the spine aligned with the leg. No twist. And right hand on the right hip. See if you can turn really, really, really slowly. Vertebra by vertebra, and stop whenever there is any discomfort. Good. I'm where I'm going to be at my level, and everybody is at their level. And then the hand comes to the shoulder. Lift the elbow, this is a little stretch. And then bring the elbow down toward the right hip, so there's a little bit of a contraction through the right side of the torso. Lengthen, take a deep breath in. Exhale into that, almost like a coiling of the body there. This is really good for the spinal muscles. For those of you who know your anatomy, the quadratus lumborum is a muscle that you can feel contracting in this posture. And then if you wish, you can extend the arm and hold. If this is not for you, no need to hold. The neck, remember neck, upper back, lower back, sacrum tailbone in line. We're not curling here, just keeping the spine neutral. And whenever you're ready, up, come back to center. You can keep the knees wide and put your hands on your knees. We're gonna lengthen the spine. Whatever kind of movement feels good here for you. Good. And back to center, forward bend, slide the hands down your legs if that feels good. Not don't. And then rise up. All right, we're ready to stand up. If, of course, you prefer not to stand up, stay seated. So we've done the palm tree pose sitting. Now we're going to try it standing. Find your roots through your feet. Again, the hands can be interlaced with the palms facing down or palms up. And see if you need the feet a little wider. Release the arms. Awareness on the length of the spine. And this time, see if you can feel the feet as supporting the spine. It's almost as part of the midline. And maybe come up onto the toes. And you may feel now the rebound from the balls of the feet to the pelvis, right? You have to engage your glutes a little bit to stay up. Yes? Reclasp the hands, non-habitual way, if they are clasped. Reach up, they don't have to be. Good. And release. Excellent. We're going to add a forward bend. Arms at the sides. Prayer position. First three movements of the sun salute. Reach up. Now, first hands on the shoulders, forward bend. I'm coming just halfway down and my knees are bent. So you can do whatever you want, but don't drop the head. So here, come up. And release. So in this forward bend, we're going to bend from the crease between your legs and your pelvis. So if you want to place your hands on the upper thighs or put the little finger edge of your hand in that crease, bend the knees, and then see how my pelvis tips forward. So I'm not really doing anything with my head, right? Do you see my neck moving or my head? I'm not really, I hope it doesn't. I'm not going down like this. This is one of the worst, this is one of the reasons why so many of us have lower back issues, because from the time we have destroyed our ability to sit on the floor by sitting in schools on chairs, we started bending forward like this. And that puts an enormous amount of strain on the vertebra. If you look at other countries, like when I was in Costa Rica, South America, Central America, Mexico, you see people so upright and they're sitting on the floor with no problem. And when they bend, they're bending like this. And so in this way, you can stay down for much longer time without damaging your discs. So let's try that. Hands in the creases or on the thighs or on the hips, even so that you can feel this movement. And the knees will automatically bend as you come over. There's no need to come any deeper than halfway. unless you have really short arms. I guess if you have short arms, you won't be able to reach the floor. If you're picking something off, then you have to bend your knees deeper, right? Put your hands on your hips and then come up. Everybody feel that movement? The gliding movement of the pelvis. Okay, that's what we're gonna do in our forward bend. Not rounding on the upper back, not rounding through the lower back. Now, those of us who've been practicing yoga for a long time, we have the other problem, is we were told that we have to have a stronger back, arch in our lower back to be able to do the back bend, which is so ridiculous because why would you want to adjust your body to pose instead of adjusting the pose to the body? But so a lot of, if you see a lot of yoga teachers, they have a sway back because of that crazy theory that somehow you have to change your body so you can do back bend. So, okay. Good. Mountain, feel strong like a mountain. Imagine that spine, those big vertebrae with the plump, let's imagine the plump discs. Visualize them. And then the legs and feet, the strength in the legs. And then open your eyes, prayer position, recognizing the light and the heart. Raise hands pose. Feel that lengthening. Feel those vertebrae rising up. And then hands on the hips, forward bend. Pelvis goes over the legs. It's like your belly is resting on your thighs almost. And then let the arms drop and reach up. Embracing the space and prayer. Inhale. Exhale. Reach. Hands maybe on the shoulders now, but be aware of that movement of the pelvis here. Can you do it without having the hands on it? And come up. And prayer. As you start gardening, remember this. You'll be so much happier. Your back will be so much happier if you can garden this way. I mean, certainly lying, sitting on the, we have all kinds of benches and you can kneel, you can sit, but that's not always possible, right? When you're weeding and you're moving around, you still have to bend. So this is the way you want to bend when you do your gardening or any kind of anything, picking up off the floor, whatever lands on the floor. Okay. We'll do the standing sun salutation with the awareness on the spine. I'm just gonna face this way to make it easier to follow. Capture it. Okay. Prayer. Raise hands. Hands on the hips. Knees bent. Now from here, there's going to be a balance involved. Keep that straight awareness of the spine from the tailbone to the crown of the head as you step the right leg back. Left leg can stay bent. Okay. Rise up and either arms in cactus or straight up. It's going to be a little turn now. What we're going to do is move this pivot, this back foot. So now we're facing this wall on the right and extending the arms. Good. Come forward, bring the right forearm on the right thigh. This is similar to what we did in the chair. And now, push into that, I'm sorry, the left forearm. I am still doing mirror image, even though I'm, push with that left foot as you arch back. And the left leg can straighten a little bit. And now, push from the back foot and come forward again. Do you feel that? How much how effortless this becomes? Push into the front foot and come back. Now, turn the back toes forward, arms either in cactus or extending. This is going to be the hard part. We bring the hands back to the hips. We're coming to a forward bend while we step the right foot forward. And then coming up, raise the arms and try. Other side. Hands on the hips. Forward bend, left leg back. See if you can stay balanced and in control here. Cactus or extend the arms. And then pivoting here. Turning toward the wall on the left. Forward. A little weight on that front foot as you push off. Now, push off from the back foot as you arch forward. You see how the spine receives that movement? Push off from the front foot. The spine receives movement from the feet. Turn the back foot forward, so now both feet are facing toward the front of the room. Now that forward bend, by stepping the back foot forward and rising up, however is comfortable. Good. Any questions? Any difficulty with those transitions? No? You want to do it one more time? Do it slightly differently today, just to keep you on your toes. Inhale, raise hands pose. Gesture of celebration of life. The sun is shining and it will be warm today. We have decided it will be.
It will.
And coming forward. Right leg back. Rising up without falling over. But wobble is good. Wobbling is good. And then pivoting into forward. I'm going to start with the back bend today. Or this time. And then pushing off from the back foot, moving into windmilling into the forward angle, right angle pose or angle pose, and then pushing off from the front leg into warrior. Shift that back foot so you're facing to the front. Forward bend. Raise hands, palm. And raise hands, pose. Forward fold, left leg steps back. Warrior two. Pivoting on the back foot. Arching back. Push off through the back foot. Feel that weight propel you into the forward variation, and then push into the front foot, back into warrior two, shifting the feet. So this is more like a lunge. And then the forward bend. The breath lifts you up. And arms to the side. Good. Shake out. Shake it out. Really important to do the shaking. We'll work with this next week. Fascia. And if you've never heard the word fascia, that's good because you learn something new. That's what holds, that's all the connective tissue, right, in the body.
My daughter, Maya Dash,
Oh,
she's an OT.
it's becoming a big thing. Yeah. Because they're realizing the muscles don't just exist on their own. It would be a big blob of muscle if there wasn't any connective tissue. And that's actually what stretches and what moves and what glides and allows that beautiful movement that we have as embodied beings, like animals. I mean, it's amazing when you see animals jump, like the cats. Have you seen the slow down videos of cats moving? Oh my God. We are like that. We just don't know it. We've unlearned it.
Squirrels in the backyard.
No, don't start me on the squirrels. They're my enemies. But I have to admit, they're extremely intelligent. They know how to get, I have given up because no baffles work for my squirrels. Actually, you know what? We're going to bring the chair to the wall. Watch first before you do this. You're going to need a lot of space. You need it, just watch. Please watch first. You're going to need about as much and some of you may be able to be in the middle of the room. Okay, watch. Somebody can be here too, and one more person can be on that wall. This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna put your hand on the chair or on the back. You're gonna lift the other leg. And then this arm can be in various positions. Here, or here. Okay? Come out of the pose. Rotate. Now, for those of you with lower back issues, maybe this is not for you. Maybe what you're just gonna do is face your chair like this and lift one leg. By the way, if you want to do something a little harder, you can put your chair on the wall and do it this way. This is a lot harder to maintain your balance. So for those of you who are well balanced, either put your chair like this, or now we can put one over here, because you're just lifting one leg, right? One more person can come here. One more person over there. I wouldn't do it in the middle. Come over there. You don't have to. The chair will. No, you're fine. You're not doing it. I just didn't want to be in it. Okay. Excellent. Okay. The chair's got to be on the wall, so you can be there. Okay. So take your feet first like a narrow triangle, and then turn your feet toward the chair. Okay. And the right hip is on the chair.
Right
I mean, on the wall. The right hip is on the right hip is on the wall. Bend your right knee and put your right hand on the chair. Now, again, to balance on your right leg, lift the left foot off the floor. The right hip stays on the wall, not the left. And then you can lift the arm and put the back of the hand on the wall. Beautiful. If you don't want to twist, so you're doing this because you don't want to twist. Okay, come on. You need the wall because you don't want the chair to wander off.
Is this right?
Yeah, turn the front, yeah, beautiful. You can turn the front forward. Forward, no, forward. Yeah. Does it feel good? Okay. Come back, bend the front knee, very slowly and carefully come down. I like to sort of de-rotate before I come out. Because you don't want,
I leave my left foot facing.
that's fine. Back foot, doesn't really matter that much. Everybody okay? No. Yes, it is. You can put your hand on the back of the chair, and it would look like this. You can even do it sideways. So this way you're not bending, you're not rotating. Or you can do it like this. That's not as challenging, but challenge is good. You want to come to the wall? You sure? Yeah.
Does anybody want to come?
No, there's a wall here. Okay, let's do the other side. So start with the butt on the wall. With your feet just wide, butt on the wall. Feet a little wider, a little bit. And closer. You have to decide how far from the chair.
I needed a little.
Yeah, I can't tell you how far. It all depends on your arms and everything. Turn your left foot toward the chair, so it faces the chair. And then bend the knee, if that works for you. Left hand on the chair, or on the back of the chair. Now the left hip is on the wall. You can put the right heel on the wall if that works. And then there's that twist, for those of you who can be twisty. Okay, release the arm. I like to sort of turn my body so it looks down at the floor, and then put my hands on the chair and come out that way. So if this bothers your back, don't do it. There's another way to do this. Let's all put the back of the chair on the wall. So now you're going to step away a little bit and bend at the hips, just like we did before, with the knees bent, and either put your hands on the seat or put your hands on the back. And then begin to lift your left leg. So you're balancing on your right, chair is somewhere in the middle, the right foot is right in the middle of the chair. And see, this is a little different because it doesn't involve the twist. Do you feel the difference? Stretch the back leg, stretch it out. No need to drop the head. Keep that straight steel of the midline, of the core, the line of the spine. Good. And then release and do the other side. Be aware of the line from the foot to the head. Everything in alignment through the bones, through the vertebra, through the leg, the big bones of the leg. Excellent. Come down and stay in a little bit of a forward bend. We'll do a downward facing dog from here. Hands stay on the chair. You're just going to walk your feet back until there is a nice straight stretch and lengthening in the spine. If you can't come into a forward bend because you have dizziness, then turn the chair around and come back from the back of the chair, keeping the head above the heart. Also, if you have high blood pressure, it may not be beneficial for you to drop your head too far down. And the feet are a little wider to give you some foundation. Just feel the lengthening in your spine. Everybody feel that? You gotta create space between those vertebrae so the discs have space to expand. Okay, and then walk your feet forward. Put your hands on your hips. Rise up with a neutral spine. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, look at the time. Come back. Can you stay a few minutes longer for a little meditation? Got carried away with the half moon pose. Good. If you need to do anything to even everything out, so we did the dog, which is good. That's a symmetrical pose. Just a little rounding and lengthening can sometimes help. I hope you didn't overdo. And if you did overdo, think about what you did that caused any discomfort and avoid it in the future. Avoid anything that we did that was too much, that caused discomfort in your back or anywhere else in your body. Roll the shoulders, drop the chin, lengthen the neck, and close the eyes. Turning your attention inward. Relax your forehead. And behind the forehead, let the brain soften. Relax the muscles around and behind the eyes. Soften the temple, ears, jaw, tongue, even the teeth and the gums release. Relax the neck, shoulders, arms and hands. Feel the movement of the heart and the lungs. Softening with each out breath. Let your belly soften. Let the bowl of your pelvis soften and receive the weight of the belly and the belly muscles. Let your feet soften and let them give up the burden of holding you. Let the legs go. Be aware of the spine. Imagine the breath is traveling up and down the spine. Inhale from the tailbone, up the spine, all the way to the place where the neck meets the head. And then exhaling down again. And each time you exhale, soften the muscles of the back. You can do this brief relaxation anywhere, at any time. Going through the body, you can go from top to bottom, or you can go from the feet to the head, relaxing each part of the body and allowing the breath to soften. And now join the palms at the heart. The light in my soul honors and bows to the light in your soul. And in that place, we are one. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you for